Guys, Henry Taekwondo here for my second python video of the day. This one is how to feed your ball python. So first thing you want to think about when you're feeding your python is you want to have a second feeding terrarium. And see this is actually just like his old terrarium. I think this is only like 15-20 gallon thing. Just his old terrarium before he grew. Once you grow out of it, then you can just recycle it as their feeding terrarium because it doesn't have to have all the accessories of their regular terrarium. The whole idea is basically that they don't associate your hand coming into their terrarium with, say, like a mouse or something, so they don't bite you. Although my python's pretty docile, but you know, you should always be on the safe side. Also, you want to think about what you're feeding them with. I just use these like connected toy chopstick things with a rhino on the top. It's kind of cool. Just, you know, any tong, plier. Well, actually, probably not pliers because you're too short, but type of thing. And you want to think about what you're feeding him. He is on baby mice, as you can see in the cup there. It's warming up in the cup of water. You also, they start out with pinkies that you're probably like, you know, only this big, and then move up to smalls, fuzzies, and then smalls, and then these type of mice which are like this big. And, you know, they can get all the way to eating. A big one will eat, you know, frozen guinea pigs, anything like that. But, the rule that I have for moving them up in sizes of mice is, say, like, once they're readily grabbing the mouse and eating it immediately without like any hesitation, they're not struggling with it at all, then it's probably time to move up. You can also then at that point start feeding them 2 mice of that same size, so you know, kind of varies there. So you don't want to handle your snake too much before feeding, because that can cause them not to eat. There's a lot of things that'll cause snakes not to eat, and that's one of them. Also, if you're trying to breed your snakes, the pressure of, like, say, the male pressuring the female to mate with him or whatever, that can kind of cause them not to eat too. So you want to be careful there. And so, also, after you've fed your python or any type of snake, you probably don't want to handle them for about 24 hours. Because otherwise it could cause them to regurgitate their mouse. For my snake, because he's still fairly small, I feed him, you know, once a week or once every 10 days. Kind of depends. As your snake gets bigger, you probably want to eventually graduate, you know, once every 2 weeks, once every 3, you know, really large snakes will probably go once they're fully grown and eating large mice, probably only once a month. Now, you want to let the mouse sit in its cup of warm water for about probably, you know, 10-15 minutes. Make sure it's warm, because you're going to want to imitate a real mouse. So you want to wiggle it in front of their nose. Make sure they can, let's see here. And there we go. He takes the mouse. Now, don't be concerned if your snake kind of just sits here with it for a good while, because that is perfectly normal. They probably think it's alive, so they want to make absolutely sure that it's dead. And so you can see he's kind of wrapped around a little ways. When you first get your snake, they probably might have some like wild instinct that'll cause them to like wrap around it fully, but they can kind of lose that, you know, it's just kind of unfortunate. It's always nice to see them being wild and stuff, but they'll kind of lose that. See, he's only wrapped around a little ways, and now I think he has it right on the head there, which is right where they like it, because then it's easiest for the feet and tail and everything to go right down. But it's really interesting. Sometimes you'll see the snakes do some pretty crazy problem solving by like you know, wrapping around it different ways, you know, holding it, working their jaw up if they get it in a weird place. So right now what your snake is probably doing, he's also probably trying to dislocate his jaw, because, you know, snakes can just do that at will whenever they want to, and so he can get the whole mouse in his, down his throat. And make sure also, once your snake has totally swallowed the mouse, you probably want to let him sit there for, you know, 3 to 10 minutes, let it get down fully into their stomach, and then take them back into their terrarium. And once again, don't handle them for about 24 hours. Okay, so now, a couple minutes later, we can see, you know, we've kind of turned it upside down. His head's kind of upside down there. You can see his jaw is fully dislocated. Kind of really wrapping around the head of the mouse in there. He's kind of working it down a little ways. And so I'm betting he'll probably sleep for, you know, at least 2 days. If, like, your python has had a really long, hard time eating, then you probably don't want to handle them for, you know, 2 or 3 days. Just give them time to recover. You can see the very, very large lump in his neck. You know, that lump is slowly going to move down all through his body till eventually it gets to his stomach, which I think is about right in this area. Okay, so he's gotten the mouse, you know, a good ways down into his body. So now you just want to be really careful, probably pick him up like right by the neck here in front of where the mouse is. Or behind, you know, because he's a little bit stressed out after that big meal. Sometimes they can be stressed after stuff like that. Now you just, then, you know, be very gentle with them. Right back into the terrarium. And, you know, once again, I'm going to say this for the 30 millionth time. Do not handle them for at least 24 hours, okay? Give them, you know, I'm probably going to give him a good 48 hours to. So that was my how to feed your python tutorial. Make sure you check out the Python setup tutorial too for, like, terrarium setups and stuff.